Thank you for joining us today. This is Whitney over the phone. I call the September 7th, 2023 meeting of the Native American Commission to order. We'll begin with an introduction of current commission members, starting with, I think we'll go ahead and start with those of us that are on the phone. And I can go, and then maybe and Emily, and I believe Dale is also on the phone. My name is Whitney Johnson, and I am the current chairwoman of the Native American Commission, a member of the Oglala Sioux tribe.
Bonjour, this is Emily Sir. I am a commission member and a member of White Earth Nation.
Hi, my name is Dale Sayers. I'm also a commission member and member of the Blackfeet Nation and descendant of Turtle Mountain.
Okay, thank you. And I think we'll go ahead and go with members there in person since I'm not able to see what order people are. And maybe we'll just start at whoever is the furthest left on the dais.
Bonjour, Ashley Littlewolf, Boys Fort, Band of Ojibwe.
Amanda Strauss, Sisseton Wapatin Oyate.
Okay, is that everybody? No?
Yep.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is going to be to approve the agenda in the minutes from our July 6, 2023 minutes. Can I get a motion to approve both the agenda and minutes?
This is Ashley. I motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Hi.
Aye.
Okay, opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item on our agenda is going to be public comment. Speakers must state their name and will be limited to 2 minutes. And I would like this for us to stay as close as we can to this today, and for those who sign up for public comment to be mindful of this, as we have a pretty busy agenda today with a few presentations. So comments should not contain profanity or personal attacks. Staff, do we have anybody signed up for public comment?
We have one person, Reverend Karen Van Vossen.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Karen Van Vossen. I'm a minister here in Fargo-Moorhead, and I'm here today as part of the Justice for Shane group on behalf of Ryan Netterville and the rest of us doing this work together in the larger community. We would really like to thank you for reiterating your support of an independent investigation and going even farther than we were asking at your last meeting, and calling on the Fargo Police Department to come to a Native American Commission meeting and respond to some lingering deep questions. We are here with another request today. We would love if we could have a copy of the letter that you have sent to the City Commission so that it can be of good use to us when we are approaching the City Commission directly, and would love your support and help in doing that, advice and presence. We do plan to be at the next meeting on September 18th, and if you would be willing to join us or advise us on how to do that as best as we can, we would be very grateful. And we also would love some more information about when the Fargo Police will be invited to a commission meeting and how the public might interact with that. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you, Karen. We are in the process of having a letter sent to the City Commission, so it has not been sent just yet, but it will be very soon. That just kind of finalizing that, have to draft it and get it signed and all of that. But that should be happening very soon. And I don't foresee there being any issues with you guys being provided a copy. And I don't have an update on the date for that, upcoming time for the chief. That's also something that is in process as well. I'm seeing what the next step is for that. Do any other board members have any comments or questions for Karen? Okay, was there anybody else signed up for public comment?
No.
Okay. Next, we'll be hearing a presentation from Ruth Buffalo regarding a request to establish Savannah Graywin Day in Fargo. So you can go ahead and proceed, Ruth.
Is it okay to put this up here too? Sorry, are both of these on? Okay. Both of us, we're going to share a few words. My name is Ruth Buffalo. I'm an enrolled citizen of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara people or nations, and I'm originally from Mandaree, and I currently reside in Fargo, near Fargo Davies with my family. And so we are here to talk briefly on the proposal of getting a permanent Savannah's Day here to be recognized by the city of Fargo. And how this came to be is I was approached by Savannah's mother. She had contacted me and shared information on what happened in Turtle Mountain, where Savannah's mother is from. And so Turtle Mountain recently passed a day for Savannah, recognizing Savannah, which is August 9th, which is her date of birth. And so we want to also show support and have that here as well in Fargo, where Savannah lived, where she worked, and where she spent the majority of her life. Savannah was an enrolled member of the Spirit Lake Nation, and her father is also a member of the Spirit Lake Nation. And so I'm going to have the next speaker introduce herself and share words and as to why we want this day passed in recognition of Savannah on her birth date, August 9th.
Hi, I'm Maya Buffalo, and I am a student at M State. In recognition of the life of Savannah Graywin, murdered Indigenous woman, daughters Savannah Graywin, born August 9th, lived and worked in the city of Fargo. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, more than 4 in 5 Native American and Alaskan Native women have experienced violence in their lifetime. Indigenous women are murdered at a rate 10 times the national average of any other race per capita. The number of missing murdered Indigenous women in the United States is impossible to calculate due to missing data. Savannah's life and tragic death call attention to the need to pay more attention to the missing and murdered Indigenous women's awareness. There has never been a celebration of the life of a fallen Indigenous sister. Such recognition of the special circumstances of her pregnancy at the time of her death, when the promise of parenthood was stripped away. Savannah's date of birth should be designated Savannah Graywin Day in celebration of the life she lived in hope, and that such designation be a call to remember how close we all are to the missing and murdered Indigenous women's reality as we endeavor to seek justice. Such designation be in honor of Savannah's life and the life of her surviving child rather than the manner of her death. Thank you.
And so that is, in short, why we are here today to propose a permanent day recognizing Savannah, which would be August 9th, the date of her birth. And I'm not sure if this, we're not too familiar with the processes at the city level in terms of the processes. So we're hoping that this is the start of a conversation that will lead to having a permanent day of recognition for Savannah Greywind, who was stolen and ripped from her family August 19th, 2017. We recently had a walk for her this past year to reignite efforts of her death, and that she will never be forgotten, and that we must never forget what happened to Savannah Greywind right here in Fargo, North Dakota. We know there's much work to be done on the policy level side. We know the Savannah's Act was passed into law, but what we're finding is that Savannah's Act is not being implemented across the country. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So I'm not sure if we stand for questions right now or what, or if we're over time, and apologies if we're over time as well.
Yeah, so you guys are good. This was a public comment period. So this was the presentation where that was what I was kind of trying to make sure there was plenty of time for with these presentations. So I have a follow-up question on if there were any specific expectations from the family or in this proposal as far as like mayor involvement, declarate like official. It sounds like the request is also includes like an official declaration from the mayor's office. But wondering if it's a little bit more specific information there as far as expectations.
Yes, we're thankful for the proclamation that was introduced, recognizing a day of awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, and those that identify, so being inclusive of our trans relatives as well. And that was introduced, that particular proclamation, I believe, was introduced in February of 2015. And those efforts were brought forward through the Sing Our Rivers Red group, SOAR. At that time had organized a bunch of community awareness events in the Fargo-Moorhead area. But we are thankful for those efforts as well, and we still continue to host MMIW, MMIP, MMIR, including relatives events in the Fargo-Moorhead area on February 14th. We also host events on May 5th, which is now being designated nationally within the U.S., following Canada's lead in having also a national day of awareness for MMIP, MMIW, MMIR. But we want this to be, we recognize it as city level, and we want this to be deemed at the same level as, Indigenous Peoples Day. Yet we know there's work to be done in those efforts as well. Not everybody still recognizes the second Monday as Indigenous Peoples Day, but separate topic for another time. But we do want this proposed day, to be at the same level as Indigenous Peoples Day, to where there would be no need to do reignite an annual proclamation, if I'm not mistaken. So we want it to be permanent, such as a stamp for August 9th, recognized as Savannah's Day, the day of her birth date.
Okay, thank you. That was what I was thinking. I want to make sure that we fully understand that request so we can honor that. Which I think it's very, it's really of the highest level of importance that we do the best that we can, given that this request originated from Savannah's family directly. And I, as the chair, I'm very supportive of moving that forward to be an annual, reoccurring year-to-year thing. I wonder if there's any other board members that have questions.
I have no questions at this time. Thank you for speaking, Ruth and Maya.
I have no questions for Ruth or Maya. Just to say, Miigwech, thank you for all the advocacy you've done for that family, and we appreciate that at the commission level. I guess one question I do have is for us. So I don't know, Whitney, if you can answer this or someone else can, but how do we then as the commission help support Ruth's request? Like, what can we do moving forward now, starting today?
I think what I would suggest is that we, maybe, well, first I'd like to see if there's any members that would like to help with kind of spearheading, like moving this request forward, and like along with help from the city planning staff. That's something that has historically, I think, worked really well as a partnership. And then, of course, also including that any and all input from the family. And then Ruth and Maya, if you're also willing to be included in that and make sure that we're moving things along in a good way and the way that the family is hoping for.
And yeah, I'll just chime in. This is Catlin, assistant planner, that there is not necessarily that clear-cut path for this kind of request. So just like Whitney said, what we do is maybe assemble sort of a navigating team that can help move this forward through discussion with the mayor's office and family members, etc.
This is Ashley Little.
This is Dale. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'd be, again, miigwech to Ruth and Maya for sharing and advocating. I'd be happy to be a part of and involved as part of the NAC. So.
Yeah, this is Dale Sayers. I'd like to be involved as well.
Okay, excellent. Well, I think that what I would suggest then is, as the chair, is that if that sounds agreeable with Maya, that Dale and Ashley can work with you all and the city planning staff to get this moving ahead.
Thank you, Mads Girads.
Okay, so our next agenda item is to talk a little bit about Indigenous Peoples Day on October 9th. We're going to be having a breakfast kickoff at Indigenous Association. I am encouraging any and all Native American Commission members to join, as we are going to try to have a meet the NAC type kind of opportunity with the community. I'm also hoping the community members will join us there too, and that'll be an opportunity to go ahead and clarify our role, explain what our board is, if there's any questions about that, and kind of what we're able to accomplish as a board. And then also, I think it'll just be good because we're still kind of in this post-COVID era, and I think it would be good for us for our board to be more visible in our community too. So hoping to see a lot of people there. At that time, we'll also be presenting the Gladys Ray Award. Nomination forms for that award are available online on our webpage. There are hard copies available in the back of the room at today's meeting as well. Those nominations need to be submitted by Friday, September 22nd. And I really encourage community members and anybody really to submit those nominations. It's such a great opportunity to celebrate accomplishments of our people in the community. Indigenous Association is also compiling information about other programming throughout the day, and then I'm not sure if Brandon is there today or not. It sounds like maybe wasn't able to make it, but that will be something that is helpful, again, in information that day, and having community members share what they would like to see go forward with Indigenous Associations be really helpful for Brandon and the team at IA to continue to do awesome work. And then more to come on, more specific details to come on this. But Emily Sargent and myself are also planning on having a lunch and learn kind of opportunity for community members and professionals alike at the YumComms Center. So finalizing those details, but more to come on that. Any questions or comments from board members about Indigenous Peoples Day?
No.
Okay, I think we'll move on to our next item then, which is Truth and Reconciliation Day, which is September 30th. This year we will again be submitting for a citywide proclamation to recognize Truth and Reconciliation Day, also known as Orange Shirt Day, on September 30th. This day is an official day of remembrance for the thousands of Indigenous children and families affected by residential boarding schools. Last year, Fargo City's Hall exterior lights were lit up in orange, since the day is also known as Orange Shirt Day, after residential school survivor Phyllis Jack Webstead shared a story of having her new orange shirt taken away from her on the first day of boarding school. In addition, Emily and I helped produce a brief educational video, which you can view on the NAC webpage. And I would love to see City Hall. That was kind of a last-minute surprise, but it was a very pleasant surprise to see that those lights be lit up orange on Fargo City Hall. So any questions or comments about Truth and Reconciliation Day from the board? Okay. Well, I had mentioned I don't think that Brandon was able to make it today for the report from Indigenous Association. I provide a very brief, and it's definitely not going to be comprehensive update on and things happening in Indigenous Association. But continue to have had some awesome programming over there. I believe that things are kind of busy around there this week, as there's some opportunities for ceremony and things like that happening in the community this week. I'd just say, for community members or interested parties, that Indigenous Association has been keeping their calendar of events very up to date. So that's going to be a great place to see what's happening and what is planned in the future. Of course, the next kind of big thing being Indigenous Peoples Day next month. The next item is a subcommittee report. And we can kind of go by each subcommittee and see if there's any updates. I can start with health and wellness and just kind of provide a little update, as I hadn't really thought of that. At the last meeting, Emily Sargent and I had met with State's Attorney Kim Hegvik and back in May, and that meeting went really well. We had met with her whole office, so all the attorneys that were able to make it, and it went very well. We had a lot of discussion about the complexities of how Indigenous people interact with the criminal justice system, and really just kind of establishing some better rapport with the State's Attorney's Office. That's been really great thus far. Kim has reached out to me a few times about some interactions with individuals and to help her to connect with resources for people. So I thought that was really a fantastic response from the State's Attorney's Office. I really commend State's Attorney Kim Hegvik for that cooperation and collaboration. And that will, I have no doubt, continue to be something that goes very well. She was very enthusiastic to meet with us, and then also have Emily and I come to meet with her whole team. So go ahead. And I don't know if there's any updates from the Education Cultural Awareness Committee. Ashley is the chair of that subcommittee.
No updates besides we are just, now that the school year is back in session, we are hoping to set up a time with West Fargo Public Schools Indian Ed to pick up where we had left off before about just education and goals and things that we could work towards. So hopefully we'll have an update at the next meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, that's pretty understandable. I know that a lot of school staff is, they don't get paid during the summertime, and they often maybe have to have another job or have other things going on in the summertime. So that's totally understandable. And looking forward to hearing more as things are rolling and back to school here. Right now, we don't have anybody on the housing subcommittee. And I think maybe it might be good to, if any board members are interested in maybe being the chair of the housing subcommittee, or switching to the housing subcommittees. We do have 3 members on both education and health and wellness. So I think if anybody was inclined to be the chair for one of those subcommittees, I think it would be good to get that one, get somebody in that spot too. We'll go ahead and go to staff reports. Is there any city staff that want to share anything?
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Dr. Terry Hogan. I'm the Director over Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Right now, what we're doing in the DEI department is that we have instituted a development and training plan for the cabinet, whereas if they're going to be taking IDI assessments, if you will, it's going to go on for a period of 3 days, if you will. And the first day was actually today. So we're looking at the 5 voices and, what is involved in that. Trying to break down biases and things of that nature. So just trying to educate as much as we possibly can. Thank you.
Questions?
Whitney, you're coming in a bit muffled right now. Do you want to change your mic?
Oh, sorry about that. Is there any other city staff that want to provide a report?
I think that's everything.
Okay, and then I guess I would just ask if there's any board members that have any comments or questions for Dr. Hogan.
None at this time, no.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Hogan. Are there any board members that wish to make any announcements?
No, can we go back to the subcommittee? I don't know if this is something, this is Ashley. I'm currently the chair of the Education and Cultural Awareness, but I would be interested in the housing subcommittee as well, or switching if there's any opportunity for that, just with what I do in my 9-to-5 job. I think that could be good. So I don't know if we need to have any formal voting on that or anything, but.
I don't believe that there's any formal voting that needs to occur for that. Wondering if either Amanda or Suzanne would be willing to kind of and if I understand it right, Ashley, that you would want to kind of switch completely, or would you want to be involved with both?
I can stay involved with both, maybe just not as chair for both of them, but I am.
Oh, yeah.
happy to keep going with the education and cultural awareness since we kind of have some stuff in process already. But the housing, since we have no one on there, I would be happy to join and hopefully have another member join as well.
I don't see any issues with that. Perhaps you can discuss with the members of the Education Cultural Awareness Subcommittee if they have any issues with that, but I don't see any problem with that.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
This is Amanda. I just have one thing I wanted to add. I didn't speak up because I already do a lot of work with MMIW, but I didn't know if it needs to be on the record. But I also would like to be involved with the Savannah Day.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, you can, that sounds good. I think that'd be great. So yeah, you can go ahead and I don't see any problem with you joining in those efforts with Ashley and Dale and Ruth and Maya and the family. Any other announcements or comments from board members? All right. So I did just want to mention that our board actually does, we currently have one vacancy. The applications process is open and will be open through September 18th. So that can be found on, and more information can be found on the website for the city. Fargo-Moorhead Indian Ed Back to School Bash is tonight from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at the Fargo Public School District office. And Native American Education Program Back to School Night is September 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m. Is there any other business for the board? Okay. Hearing none, this meeting of the Native American Commission stands adjourned. The next meeting will be November 2nd, 2023. Thank you.